Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the maestro Jeremy Karp. It is Monday, March 9th, 2026. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to go over. The first day of NFL free agency has officially kicked off, and it has been an absolute frenzy of things going on. And we're going to take some time over the next 25 minutes, go over some of the biggest news that is happening. So be sure to submit some of your thoughts on what has happened so far in day one of NFL free agency. And yeah, be sure to follow Interstate 70 Sports Media on Facebook, X, and on the official YouTube channel of I-70 Sports Media. Thank everybody for tuning in. I will say one of the first interesting moves actually happened that wasn't even a free agent move. And excuse me for a second. And that move was the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs brought back future Hall of Fame tight end Travis Kelce officially on a 1-year, $12 million deal. I know there was reports that he was going to explore the market, but let's be real here. Travis Kelce wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. So of course, here we are now. It has been official that Travis Kelce will return to the Kansas City Chiefs for his 14th season in the NFL, all of which are with the Chiefs. This is the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously coming off their worst season in a decade. Taking a look at the fact that they now are reunited, though, with Eric Bieniemy, their offensive coordinator, Patrick Mahomes rehabbing his torn ACL. And later on, we're going to talk about arguably the biggest move that the Chiefs made today. I do want to talk about that after my usual Roundabout Sports co-host and good friend Adam Frex joins us. So after he joins us, we will definitely discuss more about all of that. So yeah, stay tuned for all of that as we get into more of the crazy free agency moves that are going on right now in the National Football League. So here we go. First, Tua Tagovailoa, released by the Miami Dolphins. He is now the newest member of the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta now has 2 left-handed quarterbacks, believe it or not. It's kind of crazy to think about at the end of the day, but once again, here we are. How is this going to work with the quarterback situation that Atlanta has with Michael Penix, with Tua? I mean, and then you take a look at the weapons that they have. They got a great offensive arsenal on their team. So we're just kind of taking it into account now as far as what is going on with who will be the starting quarterback. Now, one thing we do know is that with the Arizona Cardinals releasing Kyler Murray, Jacoby Brissett has been announced as the starting quarterback as of now, heading into the 2026 season. Newly signed Gardner Minshew, who was the backup for the Chiefs and briefly the starting quarterback when Mahomes got hurt, signed with them today. So he will be taking on the backup role for Arizona. Arizona, a lot of great young offensive weapons on their team. And so they just signed running back Tyler Algier, the Alligator as we like to call him, on a 2-year, $12.25 million deal. Now we're going to go to the Baltimore Ravens. And when I tell you the Baltimore Ravens had arguably one of the roughest off seasons to date. Departing free agents. They lost Tyler Lindenbaum. They lost Isaiah Likely. They lost Kyle Van Noy. They lost Patrick Ricard. They lost Charlie Kolar. They lost Draymond Jones. There is, and meanwhile, they only signed one player, that being guard John Simpson, for a 3-year, $30 million deal. Now, let's also take into account, I'm not going to ignore the fact that they did trade for Max Crosby from the Las Vegas Raiders, and at the price of just 2 first-round picks and a third, but that's beside the point. So Baltimore, while they get one of the top pass rushers in the NFL, they do lose a huge chunk of their team, and this is the first time in the history of their franchise that they trade a first-round pick away, let alone 2, for a veteran player. So, we definitely have that very unique situation on our hands. Then, of course, we go to Buffalo. Buffalo hasn't exactly been too busy either. They did extend guard Connor McGovern for a 4-year, $52 million deal, and signed corner D. Alford for a 3-year, $21 million deal. They did trade for DJ Moore from the Chicago Bears, and they traded away 2026 second-round pick to Chicago for that. Speaking of Chicago, very busy offseason so far for the Chicago Bears. As we mentioned, the aforementioned trade of DJ Moore. But, they lost Tremaine Edmonds to free agency. Drew Dowman retired, their starting center, just when they thought they had this offensive line situation all figured out. Kevin Byard became an unrestricted free agent. But they did make some good moves so far. They signed safety Kobe Bryant. No pun intended on, Kobe, but Kobe Bryant, 3 years, $40 million. They signed former Cleveland Browns Pro Bowl linebacker Devin Bush to a 3-year, $30 million deal. And they also acquired starting center Garrett Bradbury from the Patriots in exchange for a 2027 fifth-round pick. So overall, mixed bag so far for the Chicago Bears on how their offseason is going. Of course, folks, like I said, we are just in the very first day of as far as anything goes when it comes to making moves. With all that said, we're going to move on now. The Cincinnati Bengals are in a unique situation. They lost tight end Noah Fant. And, of course, defensive end star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson. Veteran corner Joe Flacco. But their defense, I do like the signing of Brian Cook from the Chiefs. He signs with the Bengals now for 3 years, $42.5 million. And with that signing, for those that don't realize this means that George Karlaftis is the only remaining Chiefs player from the 2022 draft class that they had, drafted that year. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, really? But it's true. So Brian Cook to the Bengals, help boost that secondary up. Cleveland Browns now. We're going down the list. There is a whole reshuffling of this offensive line in Cleveland. I think that's the biggest thing that is going on with the Cleveland Browns. And so the first thing is, yes, offensive tackle Cam Robinson's gone. Center Ethan Pochik is gone. Pro Bowl and All-Pro offensive guard Wyatt Teller is gone. Joe Bitonio, his future, the All-Pro, the Pro Bowler, his future is up in the air. He wants to be back in Cleveland. Cleveland wants him back, but it's all about finding the right deal. The de facto leader of this team and the anchor of the offensive line for over a decade now, and I'm being joined now by my usual Roundabout Sports co-host, Adam Frex. Adam, how we doing, man?
What's going on, brother? It's Christmas Day today, ain't it?
It is. It is literally Christmas. It is unbelievable. I was just telling everybody who's tuning in, and thank you all for who is tuning in right now. Some of the moves, I've kind of gone down the order just by team, like in alphabetical order. But first, I wanted to get your thoughts on Travis Kelce returning to the Chiefs for his 14th season, and if you think this is the last dance for Travis.
More than likely, yeah. I'm not that surprised, especially how the season ended last year. I couldn't see it just kind of walking off that kind of stage, like the last few games, really, than just giving up. But yeah, no, I saw him coming back this year. After this year, I would probably, if I had to bet on it, I'd probably say no. But I'm not. I don't think it's a huge. I think it's 70-30 no, but 30 is still a decent shot. He comes back for another season next year.
I was going to say that would be season 15. I mean, it's crazy to think about, but that is one thing I've thought about this whole time is that, after how last season ended, you'd be hard pressed for him to not return. Like if you're in his perspective here. So it makes sense that he came back, and it was a good team-friendly one-year deal. Good for him as well, of course. So now the Chiefs have been extremely busy. And
surprisingly.
Yeah, so I just mentioned before you hopped on that, the Bengals signed Brian Cook, their safety. Mm-hmm. And that leaves Karlaftis, who we talked about on Roundabout last week, as the last remaining player from the 2022 draft class on that team.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about because that was a great draft. And the fact that we've only kept Karlaftis out of all. Hey, I mean, that kind of comes with the territory. You hit that many in one draft, you're going to lose half of them to start.
Yeah, I think it is just kind of crazy to think about because, like you said, they had a very successful 2022 draft, at least on paper, it seemed like. And despite that, you were down to one. Now, luckily for them, I guess, or, depending on your perspective on him, he is, extended for the next few years. So, he's going to stick around.
Yeah. He's a quality starter in the NFL. I'll say that.
And then we move to the offense for a second because arguably one of, if not the biggest free agency move, there is a couple that I think we'd put up there with it. But it happened this morning, and that's Kenneth Walker III, K9, as he's like to be known, the reigning Super Bowl MVP running back from the Seattle Seahawks, is officially signed with the Chiefs, and it's the largest free agent running back contract in NFL history per I think annual value, because I know it is a 3-year, $45 million deal.
Right. Didn't somebody else get a data deal that kind of blew that out of the water?
Yeah, there's a couple other deals in general that blew it out of the water, but as far as running, they're saying as far as running backs go.
No, I meant running backs. I thought somebody else had signed. I don't remember what the hell. I got my phone on me, but
I mean, it has been absolutely crazy. And like I said, folks, we're just in day one of all of this.
Yeah.
So
and the fact that the Chiefs are a big player on a running back at $15 million per year, that was unexpected. Also, maybe unneeded.
I'll say this much: signing Walker, I mean, it's a big loss for Seattle because he was a huge reason for their success in the Super Bowl. And that's not taken away from Darnold at all. Darnold was great, but it was able to have such a great balanced offensive attack that helped. And now you lose, that major piece. Yeah, you have Zach Charbonnet, but he missed because of injuries. Now that question mark comes up. Now I will say, if you're the Chiefs, you're thinking, great, we signed a Super Bowl MVP. We signed K9. He's only 27 years old, I believe, not 25.
Right.
Well, guess what? Now we don't got to draft Jeremiah Love,
which I don't hate. I don't
hate the idea, but damn,
the thing with it is, I just that amount of money for running back is, especially the Chiefs. But it tells you maybe with Travis Kelce coming back next year.
Well, here's my question, and we'll delve into this more on Wednesday. Does this mean the Chiefs? Because we look at the secondary. Trent McDuffie got traded to the Rams.
Jalen Watson signs with the Rams.
Jalen Watson's gone. Brian Cook's gone. Chiefs still have that first round pick. Do they go Caleb Downs if he's available?
Yeah, they're going pass rusher. No doubt about it.
You think they're going to go pass rush or going to go secondary?
No, they go pass rush. I don't know. They might go Downs, but usually, I don't know. That's a tough one. Because we develop.
They're going defense. You know that.
Yeah, it's definitely defense for sure.
It's going to be defensive first, unless they make some. Now, I will say, they also signed Kairos Tonga to a 3-year, $21 million deal and a $14 million guaranteed in that from the Patriots, which great deal. I think, very talented.
I don't know. I don't know enough about him to say if it is or isn't. If you go through statistics through his, it doesn't look great, but D-line's a different story whenever they're playing.
I was going to say, I think the reason the stats aren't, great or stand out is because he's a nose tackle.
Yeah, it's what they're asking him to do.
Nose tackles don't always have the biggest stat lines, but they're some of the biggest disruptors.
Right.
And also they're some of the most fun to watch because, you think of, when I think nose tackles, I think Ted Washington. Of course, we think of Gilbert Brown, the Gravedigger,
Vince Wilfork.
Yeah. We think of DeMarco Farr. They had him in at nose tackle, and Ray Agnew was in there at nose tackle for the Rams in St. Louis. So, there's a lot of good nose tackles.
You know who they did? You know who they did this for, though? You know who that signing's for? And that signing's directly for Chris Jones. Yes, that's a Chris Jones. We need our guy to be a star next year. Let's because last year was tough, that other D tackle position opposite of Chris Jones. So
yeah, it was. We're gonna move forward now. So I'll finish up with I left off when you popped in on the Cleveland Browns, and honestly, I was talking about how they're revamping the offensive line. They traded for Titus Howard, who's a former first-round pick. They just signed Zion Johnson to a massive 3-year, $45 million, I believe. 3-year, $49.5 million. And this came out just about, I want to say it's 7:00 Central now. This came out about an hour ago. They signed Quincy Williams, all-pro linebacker, to a 2-year, $17 million deal. So they lost Devin Bush to the Bears. Now they got that replacement immediately back in Quincy Williams. So honestly, they're not making many moves. They're waiting for the draft, it seems like. But it seems like they're really starting to nail the moves they've made. And honestly, we'll get into some teams as we go along that have really made some moves.
Yeah, no, it's been a big day. When it comes to the Cleveland Browns in particular, they just need to find an identity. And I know it's defense, but like just as a team identity as a whole.
And once again, folks, send us your comments as we do every Wednesday night on Roundabout Sports. Just sending comments, questions, anything you got. Barbie, the amazing, fabulous Babs tuning in right now, saying hi to us. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm going to be honest, folks, we got record viewership tuning in right now live. I'm looking at the number right above me, and I'm in absolute awe, and I am grateful for all of you who are tuning in live across the social media platforms. So we're going on now in the free agency frenzy. We're going to the Cowboys. They've done the non-exclusive franchise tag to George Pickens, and they traded for Rashawn Gary from the Packers. And this time it's for real. I know there was a whole thing about Gary, but this time it's for real. Rashawn Gary is going to the Cowboys for 2027 fourth. Once again, a team that I don't think even has much room to do a lot, but they're doing decent things enough, in our division. So, or in the NFC East division.
Yeah. We'll see. The NFC East is going to be interesting these upcoming years.
It is. And
I think the Eagles fall back a little bit. I mean, they did this year, but I definitely not a dynasty team.
No,
it's going to be interesting.
I was going to say, and there's a few ideas why that this NFC East is going to be kind of shifted up. Now we go to the Broncos, former AFC, they just one game away from being in the Super Bowl last year. Very interesting so far. They lost Dre Greenlaw. They released him. John Franklin Myers signed with the Titans, I believe, their former D lineman.
Solid pickup by the Titans.
Yep. And but they did re-sign Alex Singleton, and they re-signed starting running back J.K. Dobbins, who was on a hot streak of health, and then he got hurt again. So
it's kind of been Dobbins is a good back. That's his biggest problem.
Dobbins is good when healthy. It's just when healthy is the biggest problem. That's the
because he was real good in Baltimore. He made a stop with the Chargers.
Yep, and then he went to
Baltimore.
Denver.
I thought it was a good fit. So, hold on. Sorry, this just popped in my head. I'm gonna cut in front of you on something. Max Crosby getting traded because we was talking about the Ravens. That one blew me away.
Yeah, we talked
to the Ravens.
Mm-hmm. I want your thoughts on the whole Ravens thing before we go to the Packers. I want your thoughts on the Ravens because yes, they traded for Crosby, and I mentioned this to everybody before you hopped in. They traded for Crosby, which is a huge move. I'm not going to deny that. But when you look at everybody they've lost Linderbaum. I'm going to scroll back up here to a lot of the players. They lost Draymond Jones. They lost Isaiah Likely, Kyle Van Noy, David Ojabu, Patrick Ricard. I mean, and they've only made the trade for Crosby and signed John Simpson. So, I mean,
I get it. Couple of those guys were older guys, I won't say that Likely's older, but he's not going to.
Likely was supposed to be the successor to Mark Andrews. Right now, Mark Andrews is currently the only contracted Ravens tight end on the roster right now. Which is crazy to think about.
The Ravens weren't in a position to offer Likely that much money. And that's the reality of the situations. The Ravens are currently kind of the same cycle the Chiefs are in. They got to kind of dump, and they'll probably have one or two named pickups. Other than that, a lot of June 1st cuts are
right. So yeah, it's very interesting to see how this Ravens team is going to shape up as we head into the season. The Packers, we already mentioned they lost. Honestly, Green Bay this is a situation because Green Bay has lost. Listen to these names, and some of them have already signed. Keep in mind, Malik Willis signed with the Miami Dolphins. We were going to get into that. The hottest quarterback on the market, which was crazy. I didn't expect that heading into this, but everybody was after Malik Willis. So then you got Quay Walker, who I believe just signed with the Raiders, actually. And we'll be talking about the fact that they have Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker now. Rasheed Walker, Trayvon Diggs, Emmanuel Wilson, Romeo Dobbs, and they released Elgton Jenkins. That is a lot of that. That's a lot for Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't think none of those guys are superstars. You know what I mean, and I won't even put it under the echelon of like stars. Not one of them. I think they're all
Jenkins to me is a very top tier offensive lineman. Dobbs is very hit or miss. Quay Walker and Rashawn Gary,
very good players, dude. Yeah,
they are
in the hall of very good. Absolutely.
Malik Willis, I will say, was very overhyped in this whole free agency thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know. He had a couple games that he played in.
He did.
Year.
He had some good games, but
he still doesn't have
paying him here.
He still doesn't have enough of a sample size for me to like.
You're gonna drop $67.5 million on him? Like, come on now. I couldn't believe it.
That's why the Dolphins are the Dolphins.
And we'll get to them shortly. So we're gonna backtrack one team. We're gonna go to the Lions because I accidentally skipped over them. They traded Knuckles. Sonic and Knuckles no more. They traded Knuckles. David Montgomery did the Texans. Taylor Decker requested his release and he got it. Alex Anzalone left and got signed somewhere. Offensive guard Graham Glasgow got released. Dan Skipper retired, and defense tackle Roy Lopez. The only person they've signed, I believe, was Cade Mays of note, I should say, was in center for 3 years, $25 million. We're talking about the visions that are being reshaken up here and shook up, and the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears and the Lions. We've already talked about the three of them. We'll get to the Vikings. They are revamping their rosters, and it's kind of crazy to look at how, and heading into 2026, like to the start of the season, what their teams are going to look like.
Well, you kind of had to expect it with the Packers whenever they traded for Micah and gave him that huge contract. Coming into this, you're feeling it now. So they're going to lose all of those guys, and you're not going to be able to recover the same type of names. No,
and that's very true. The when you get a star player, you know that you're not going to be able to keep a lot. Yeah. We're going to go now to the Houston Texans. A lot of veterans departed. A lot of veterans left. I'm not going to act like a lot of big young stars. Joe Mixon got released. Christian Kirk became a free agent. Danico Autry became a free agent. Sheldon Rankins became a free agent. They re-signed Trent Brown. They re-signed tight end Dalton Schultz. The biggest thing they've done to me, besides trading for Montgomery, is actually something that just happened about 30, 40 minutes ago. They signed Reed Blankenship from the Eagles, and to your Eagles' point, to a 3-year, $24 million deal with $16.5 guaranteed. So, to your point, Eagles are definitely taking some hits here.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see now is just kind of that crop of rookies from 4 years ago. How quickly the cycle turns, and they're all onto the market now.
Now, I'm going to tell you a team that they have not made much sense to me, right? The Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts, they're working on trying to trade Anthony Richardson. They re-signed. They did the transition tag on Daniel Jones. They re-signed Alec Pierce. on arguably and he is, stop me if you heard this. Alec Pierce, the highest paid average annual value wide receiver in NFL history.
That's crazy.
Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
Like,
is that right though? He got paid that. He got, how much did he get paid? What was the exact numbers?
So the contract is a 4-year. It's a free agent. So he's a 4-year, $116 million contract. So, basically that's a $29 million a year, which is the most given to a free agent wide receiver on that type of extension. He's guaranteed anywhere from 60 to 84 million.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Like,
that's the wide receiver market, man.
But what's funny is the past 2 years he did not saying he's a bad wide receiver because he's definitely not. The past 2 years, he has led the league in yards per catch, which, the Colts have had a very explosive offense when they click, of course. So then they trade after the extension. What do? They trade Michael Pittman Jr. to the Pittsburgh Steelers for late round draft pick swaps. I forget the exact picks, like what rounds they're from, but yeah, that's something that blew my mind was Alec Pierce getting that big extension because there was so many issues with the Colts this offseason already in regards.
You could have just kept Michael Pittman and traded Alec Pierce, or not traded. It was a re-sign, but yeah, I don't not. You might as well sign Christian Kirk. This is Jacksonville
at this point because you got Josh Downs, Alec Pierce. You got Tyler Warren at tight end, but
I'm telling you, it's the same thing when Jacksonville signed Kirk from the Cardinals. It's just instead Pierce re-signs with the Colts. Like, yeah, it's the same.
No,
not to be demeaning, same trajectory in my opinion.
Well, speaking of the Jaguars, that's who we're on to now. And can you believe that for the first time for every year since 2018, Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence have been on the same team?
Yep, since Clemson.
Since Clemson, they both went to the Jaguars like every year since 2018 until now.
Yeah,
Travis Etienne is going to the Saints, and
that's who got paid. He got paid, didn't he?
Yeah. So, Travis Etienne got a 4-year, $52 million deal.
That's the one that, yeah. Crazy.
So, but yes, we go to Jaguars. They lose Travis Etienne, Devin Lloyd, Greg Newsome. I know him from Cleveland. He did not pan out the way. Honestly, Cleveland won the Tyson Campbell, Greg Newsome trade. Tyson Campbell, like first or second game in with them, got a pick 6. Greg Newsome just struggles. So, I mean,
I've always thought he was okay.
But here's the thing. He was supposed to be more than okay.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's the problem. It's not that he's not okay. It's not that he's bad. He's not a bad player. He's just not what he needs to be, and that's not good enough. So nothing really from the Jaguars. Okay, there are a couple things that I do find interesting with the Chiefs before we go quickly over them, because then we got the Raiders, and man, there's a lot to say about the Raiders. The Chiefs also, they signed Kenneth Walker. Well, now the Chiefs, on top of that, they did lose Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. Are you bringing either of them back? Are you just signing a veteran back? Are you drafting a late round back? Like, what are they doing? Because now you know who your starter is, but who's going to be behind him?
If they bring one of them back, it'll be Hunt. It won't be Pacheco. Lord, I hope it's not Pacheco. Don't be Pacheco. But I see them bringing another veteran. I think this is the first time in a long time, maybe since Kareem Hunt's first year, or back to when Andy had Jamal Charles, that you'll have a actual RB1 in the Chiefs offense. So that's what's interesting. And how they approach backup, a power line guy, I would assume, gadget guy, a
Yeah.
McKinnon. It all depends on how they plan on using Walker, honestly.
And then we go to the Raiders, and like we said, we talk about the fact they had the most cap space to spend. They signed Kobe Dean for 3 years, $36 million. They signed Quay Walker for 3 years, $40 million. Traded Crosby to get 2 first-round picks, one this year, one next year. They signed Tyler Linderbaum for 3 years, $81 million. Re-signed Eric Stokes, 3 years, $30 million. Honestly, right now, I'm just going to be short, sweet with it. Raiders are having arguably the best off season right now in the league. There's one other team there's 2 or 3 other teams I might give it to, but Raiders are really pushing for like winning the offseason after day one, of course.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of money.
That's the thing. They have a lot of money, and now they got really good draft capital. Chargers haven't done a whole lot. They have lost a lot of players to retirements and, reshaping the O-line. The Rams, we got the whole big trade from Trent McDuffie from the Chiefs, which they traded away a first-round pick this year, a 5th this year, a 6th this year, and a 3rd next year. And then they signed Jalen Watson on a 3-year deal. So they get 2 corners from the Chiefs. Both really good moves, in my opinion.
Yeah. Los Angeles is going to love Jalen Watson, too. Like, I know
Jalen Watson's very underrated, honestly. I do. I will say that. We go to Miami quickly. I mean, the Miami situation is very fun to think about because Tua got released. Did you see what they said about Tua? Like the Dolphins?
His dead cap?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. 60 million or something this year?
Close to 60 million of a dead cap hit.
Crazy.
Is insane for Tua. And we know.
And then you turn around and sign Malik Willis. Ain't that who they got? That's who you said they got?
They signed Malik Willis to a 3-year, $67.5 million deal, which the new head coach of the Dolphins was the former DC of the Packers. So, of course, they know each other well enough. So that was an expected move. I honestly, like my friend Andrew said yesterday, he expected Malik Willis, and Malik would be crazy not to sign with the Dolphins if given the opportunity.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. I agree. Great move by Malik Willis. He got paid. When I never thought he had got that dollar amount. I thought it would have been more of a short-term deal, prove it deal. The fact that he got a nice length of a contract. And great for that, dude.
But they haven't really signed many. They signed Greg Dulcich on a 1-year deal on a re-sign. They traded Minkah Fitzpatrick away. They lost Darren Waller. They lost Tyreek. They lost Jason Myers, Alec Ingold, James Daniels. Like the Dolphins have a lot of work to do, but it is still kind of cool to think about that. I mean, they did make the big splash and sign the top quarterback on the free agency market as far as projections go.
Right.
So Minnesota, nothing of note, honestly. New England, besides Stephon Diggs being let go and Draymond Jones being signed, nothing of super note. Interesting moves in New Orleans, though, with the Saints as Cam Jordan becomes an unrestricted free agent. They signed Travis Etienne, like you had mentioned. 4 years, $52 million. They signed guard David Edwards, 4 years, $61 million. And they signed Noah Fant from the Bengals on a 2-year deal. Cam Jordan being a free agent is the big thing for me, though, because I'm thinking he spent the past 14, 15 seasons with the Saints.
Right.
So, I mean,
I don't see him going nowhere. I see it's one of those things. He's maybe I don't know. I said the same thing about Calais Campbell when he played with Arizona, and like
Yeah.
it feels like similar. So I don't know, man. It'd be interesting. Hell of a
We
guy, veteran presence.
he'd be great to have. Now, another interesting team that has really shaken up their roster, the New York Giants, because they don't have Russell Wilson anymore. They don't have Wandale. He signed with the Titans, and we're going to get to them soon. But they signed Isaiah Likely on a 3-year, $40 million deal. They signed Tremaine Edmonds on a 3-year, $36 million deal with 23 mil guaranteed. And they re-signed Jermaine Ulamooner. I know that's not exact. I'm sure that's wrong, but on a 3-year, $39 million deal. So Giants, the biggest issue in New York last year, they did not have Neighbors, Scat, and Dart all together at the same time.
Yeah.
Put them all together now. Now you got Theo Johnson alongside Isaiah Likely. Keep an eye out on these Giants.
That's what I'm saying. I think you're going to be seeing, I want to say a restructuring of the NFC East, but they're going in with Harbaugh too. I imagine they're going to be a solid team at least.
And the Jets over here trying to make some interesting moves, signing DeMario Davis. They did the non-exclusive franchise tag on Breece Hall. They signed linebacker Joseph Asai. They traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick from the Dolphins for the Chargers' 7th-round pick and signed him to a 3-year, $40 million deal. For a team that's terrible, that's actually not bad. Minka's still very good. So you trade him for a 7th and you sign him, you take it.
It's
Eagles,
interesting in what direction they're going, though. It's just they don't know the quarterback, so what's the use of picking up a guy like Fitzpatrick at the same time?
Exactly. Eagles, this is what we're talking about. They lost Nakobe Dean. They lost Reed Blankenship, Fred Johnson, Jalen Phillips, Dallas Goedert. They are looking to trade Jalen Carter. And they signed Jordan Davis on a 3-year, $78 million extension, but we might be seeing a changing of the guard, if not this year, at least in a couple years in the NFC East, because it seems like the rest of the division is really really working on building up. Eagles are kind of standing pat right now.
What you're doing is it's a shift in teams from 4 years ago. Now you like the teams like the Giants. Now they think they got their quarterback. They're like, hey, let's pull some triggers around him. Let's see if we can find us a open window.
You're absolutely right. Steelers signed Asante Samuel Jr. on a re-sign for 1 year, $4 million. They signed Michael Pittman for 3 years, $59 million extension after they traded for him, of course. So he's got that big extension. And then Jamal Dean, the corner, 3 years, $36 million. Now, here's one from the Steelers that I do actually, I think this one just came out not too long ago. This about just about 40 minutes ago. Rico Dowdle from the Panthers is signing with the Steelers. Terms are not yet official on what it is, but I'm really curious about what that is. But that's a good move for Pittsburgh. San Francisco, okay. This is where when we talk about it, when you first came on, when I said if there's any team that might have made a bigger move than K9 to the Chiefs, this is one I think might be bigger. I know it may not seem like it. Mike Evans going to the 49ers on a 3-year, $60 million deal. It is big, if for nothing else, for the veteran leadership. But Mike Evans is still 32 years old, and he's got a lot left to prove that he can still go after not a bad ending in Tampa, just not the way he wanted it to go out, with injuries.
Other than those Brady years, that's a very Tampa season to go out. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he's been
that.
relatively healthy. He's arguably the greatest receiver in Tampa history, and I know.
Oh no, I think he's definitely the greatest receiver. He's first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion, having all those 1,000-yard seasons in a row.
I do agree with Sans Brady year. How it ended almost was part of the course with the Buccaneers injuries.
Yeah.
So I do like. Now I will say I hope he stays healthy on the most unhealthy team in the NFL.
Right.
So we will see how that plays out.
Good for him. For him to get 3 years at his age, I never would have. I saw him as a
that's
one-year
going to put him player. At 35, and you're getting 60 mil out of this contract. That's a hell of a deal. So
good for him.
Seahawks, of course. The Seahawks, they lost some and you gained some. They re-signed Rashid Shaheed on a 3-year, $51 million deal. They lost K9. They lost Kobe Bryant. They lost Tariq Woolen to free agencies. So, I mean, the defending champs, not too shabby. The Titans to me, or no, I'm sorry, not the Titans, the Buccaneers, I think had one of the biggest re-signs in the league today when they re-signed I don't even know if I call it a re-sign, but just bring them back deal. They brought back Cade Otton, their star tight end, and if you lose Mike Evans, bringing back Otton, who is eyed by multiple teams. Multiple teams had their sights set on Otton. I know not the Cardinals, the Cleveland Browns. People thought the Chiefs were in on them. Buffalo. I mean, there was a lot, and Baker Mayfield now still has one of his top weapons back.
Yeah, no, Otton's a good player, man. Even when his rookie year, I believe, was Brady's last year. And Brady, he was kind of, I would say he was his security blanket, but Brady trusted him. And he's kind of developed every year since. I don't know if he's that top tier tight end, but he may be right under it.
Right. We're in the final two teams. Oh, and they also did sign Alex Anzalone from the Lions on a 2-year, $17 million deal. But final two teams here. I know we're wrapping it up this evening, folks, on the free agency frenzy day one here. The Tennessee Titans, man, oh man, we're going to call them the Tennessee Giants at this rate. And once again, they signed wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson on a 4-year, $78 million deal. They signed Giants tight end Daniel Bellinger, 3 years, $24 million. They signed John Franklin Myers, 3 years, $63 million. They signed Alontae Taylor, 3 years, $60 million, 42 guaranteed. They re-signed Mitchell Trubisky. And honestly, Tennessee it sounds crazy, but they're building around Cam Ward. They're stocking up. They are a growing pain team. It's a rough team to watch. It's a rough team to watch, but when you watch them, it's interesting. It'll be interesting. So,
well, I don't think they're going to go all in this year, but maybe the following year with them opening the new stadium. You're going to see a push. You're going to see the push with the Titans.
They're building that foundation. They really are. And they got the money to spend. They got good draft picks. I think Cam Ward got absolutely clobbered last year. You give him the right line and make it known that he needs better running backs. You can get somewhere with them. So last but certainly not least, the Washington Commanders. They also had a big signing on the day of their own. Now, that's with former Chargers pass rusher, and pardon me once again if I mispronounce, Odafe Owe reportedly agreed to a 4-year, $100 million deal with Washington. $68 million guaranteed, by the way. 27 years old. Last year, 2 years ago, he recorded 10 sacks with Baltimore. And it's a huge boost for that Commanders defense that really needed help. Meanwhile, they also signed they extended kicker Jake Moody. They signed Treylon Burks. They extended Tress Way. I mean, I do like the extension of lineman Andrew Wiley. Always been a very solid cornerstone lineman for the Chiefs and Washington. So overall, who do you have? Now we got all 32 teams out of the way as of now for day one. Who's your biggest winner for day one?
God, that's tough. You're putting me on the spot. I have no idea, dude. Biggest winner? I mean, I don't know. The Raiders put a lot of money in. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm going to say the Raiders, and I'm going to tell you why. The biggest winner for me is the Raiders for day one, because it's not just the players they got. It's the draft capital. Yeah, you lose Max Crosby, but you get 2 first-rounders on top of all the guys we mentioned that they signed and all the money they still have. You know, right now, it is almost a 150% guarantee Fernando Mendoza is going to the Raiders, number one.
For sure.
So you're going to have him, Brock Bowers, and Ashton Genty. So they're building the team around those 3 guys. And one's not even drafted yet. But they're building around those 3 guys. Yeah, and they're doing a really good job.
As they should. They should. The NFL's this might sound sacrilegious. The NFL is better when the Raiders are good.
It is very interesting. That's a very interesting take. It's fun though, because teams have to suck for a while to get all that money built up, and then they can spend it all willy-nilly.
Most franchises go through it. Go through.
A lot of I was going to say, a lot of them do, and the teams that are constantly good don't really make a whole lot of moves because they're kind of in cap hell.
Yeah, that's
kind of ergo Chiefs and Eagles.
Yeah, that's how you lose. When you're this good too, it's hard to keep those guys. Or when you've had this level of success for this many years in a row.
Yes,
those guys got to get paid.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that's going to do it. Oh, go ahead. What'd you say, Adam?
That's the moral of the story today. These guys are going to get paid.
Moral of the story is these guys are going to get paid. I love it. All right, folks. Well, that'll do it this evening here at Interstate 70 Sports Media. I want to thank my co-host, my dear friend, Adam Frex. Be sure to join us Wednesday night at 6:30 or 6:45 p.m. Central Standard Time for the newest episode of Roundabout Sports. And as always, we put up the NAMI helpline, 1-800-950-NAMI. The National Alliance for Mental Illness is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to people struggling with mental illness and health issues. And we put up the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 1-800-950, for that you dial 988. The Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is 988. The phone line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. Understand you're never alone in this world. There is always somebody who loves you, who cares about you, who wants nothing but the best for you. We all love you. I want to thank you all tuning in. You are never alone. Your feelings matter. And until we see you all again, I'm the Maestro Jeremy Karp. He's Adam Frex. And life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading. Good night, everyone.